designers sort of put together her brief, and then in response to that, we've done this, okay? So, over to you. Shall I, is that okay recording, Ray?
Yeah, it's fine, sound, yeah. Yeah, you're good.
Shall I put it? I'm getting the lights the other way.
Yeah. That's good.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
So like Sally says, my name's Emma Brockleback and I'm Interior Design Manager at Ikea Sheffield. I've got a few things to share about myself and then come on to Ikea and our brand, which is who you'll be designing for, and then also the briefs of what it is we'll be asking you to do. So just a little bit about me. So I'm from Sheffield, lived in Sheffield my whole life. I went to Westfield School, which is in the Crystal Peaks area of Sheffield. I don't know if anyone knows Sheffield all that well other than the town centre. Then went to the Sheffield College to do interior design, and then I came here, so I was sat where you guys were, except when we were put Salter Lane at that point, before this building was the design building. And I did a degree in furniture design, because there wasn't interior design at the time. So I finished at Hallam in 2007, and then the first thing I did after I left uni was I applied for a job at Ikea, and I didn't get it. I didn't get it because I didn't have an interior design portfolio. I had furniture design. And obviously that wasn't what they were looking for, so what I decided to do was start my own business, and I worked for myself, created a business called Lulabelle Design, and that allowed me to visit people at home, give them advice about interior design, and allowed me to build a portfolio, which then got me a job at Ikea in Leeds, and then Ikea in Sheffield. So I've worked in interior design my whole life, really. So just a little bit about Ikea Sheffield. Has everyone been to an Ikea? Yeah? Everyone been to Ikea Sheffield? So when Ikea Sheffield was first built, a couple of years ago, we were the 20th store in the UK. We've had 3 more stores open since, I think. We're 35,000 square metres, and when we opened with 500 co-workers, and we're just a bit under that now. We have about 20,000 visitors per week, and we take approximately between 100 and 250,000 per day, depending if it's a weekend, and depending on coronavirus, of course. But yeah, we're a very, very busy store. We're positioned between Leeds and Nottingham stores, and that was a deliberate move by Ikea to kind of capture the area in between and the people that weren't visiting either of those 2 stores. So yeah, very big store, lots going on. So about our brand at Ikea, Ikea's kind of motto is to kind of create a better everyday life for the many people. And what that means, it's about designing products that are basically for anyone, regardless of your budget, your background, where you live, the type of property you're in. It's about having an offer that's affordable for everyone, and affordability is one of our biggest kind of brand focuses. Our business idea is we will offer a wide range of well-designed functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. So there are actually some products in Ikea that don't make us any money. We have these products within our range so that we can offer a low price alternative to our customers, even though they're at a loss to our business. That's how strongly we believe in our motto of low prices for everyone. So our store structure, this is in every Ikea in the world. So like in any retailer, you have things like the sales team, the logistics team, customer services. In Ikea we have the restaurant. I'm sure you've all had meatballs and hot dogs when you've come to Ikea. So we have our Ikea food team. We have our budget team, HR, like in any business. But then perhaps what's different to other retailers is that in every Ikea you have a communication and interior design team. And this is a group of people who are responsible solely for the visual impression of the store, for our customer experience, and whether they're inspired to buy the products. They're usually local people who understand the needs of the community and the city, and basically we're there to provide inspiration for people who are visiting, like yourselves and like different people within our market. A little bit about the team. So this is me, Interior Design Manager, and underneath me there are 4 interior designers, and then we also have a carpenter. The other side of the visual team is the visual merchandisers. They're responsible for, I guess, what's more kind of generic shop design. So when you go in somewhere like Next and you see a store window, in Ikea we also have a store window. So they're more kind of generic retail design people. And we also have a graphics team who are responsible for graphics in our store. And this is our team. So this was on day 1 of the build of the store. And then this was on opening day, looking a lot more tired than on the first day. So we have quite a big team. This This is probably average in the UK. In some stores, smaller stores, they'll have a smaller team. In the London stores, they have huge teams. But this is always the structure. So the interior design team, so that's myself and 4 interior designers, and we're responsible for, when you come in IKEA, you see the room sets. So we have room sets which are like these medias here, where we're basically trying to replicate someone's home or room within their home, and we show them a really good way of using our products to furnish their space and give them ideas. We also have vignettes, which are this one here, and this one is like basically like one wall within a room. So if this was a vignette, it would be this wall. And then we also have homes. So in IKEA, if you've had a little look through, we have 3 complete homes within the store, and that's to kind of show that you can furnish your entire home with IKEA. There's no kind of part of the home that we don't have a furnishing solution for. So that's the kind of one side of what it is that we do. And for each one of these room sets, we have like characters and stories that we base these room sets on. Often, sometimes people we know or ourselves, but sometimes characters that we make up. And I guess we kind of do that as in a way that you guys will probably plan residential projects and domestic interior design. It's about designing for somebody else. The other side of the job that we're responsible for is the more commercial side. So the interior design team are responsible for sales support areas, which are things like our customer restaurant, our bistro where you buy your hot dogs, our entrance area, exit area, our returns department. So these are areas that the customers use as transitional spaces to get around the store, not areas that we sell from, so we call them sales support areas. And then we're also responsible for the co-worker areas, so the areas that customers don't see. So things like our general office, our meeting rooms, our logistics office, our food office, corridors, security lodge. So being an interior designer at IKEA, it's about the kind of residential design, designing for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but then it's also about designing for 350 co-workers who need to sit and have their dinner. So there's 2 different sides to the job, and we're going to explore one of those in this project. So the task, if you can probably see on your briefs, is to reimagine one of our 4 customer areas. So I've picked 4 areas of our store that need a little bit of a lift, a little bit sad looking at the moment. So what I'd like you to do is either in small groups or individually. There are 2 briefs which are for individuals and 2 briefs for smaller groups if you want to work in smaller groups. So we need you to follow the brief provided really carefully. I'm going to go through the briefs in a second. And then prepare to present the proposal for review. So with the situation we're in, I'm sure Sally and Rachel will go through, but it's probably going to be a presentation now, perhaps something that you submit online. But I'd like it to include a mood board, so your inspiration for the area that you're replanning. A product board of the IKEA products that you've used, your architectural drawings, so that could be plans, sections and CAD, and then a cost to implement, so to itemise how much it will cost to the store to put this in. So I'll go through the areas. Everyone's still with me? It's a lot of blank things.
Can I share a picture of that?
Yeah, of course you can. We're going to share it after. It'll probably go on Blackboard.
It's on Blackboard.
Yeah, I'm going to upload it.
Yeah, I seem to...
So I think I
sorry,
really
I'm
liked
getting
it
free,
is
yeah.
on there,
Yeah.
and it was on live, should be on live from 10 o'clock.
Perfect. So I'll go through the 4 briefs and then we'll take some questions. So the first one, we can all read that and see that okay at the back. So the first area I'd like you to look at is the entrance to our customer restaurant. So if you've been in our store, this is the kind of first part as you walk in, just before you get to where the servery is. And there's this little kind of seating area here that needs a bit of a refresh. So this is something that you could do individually or ideally, with it being a small area. But basically, yes, so I've put on here the reason for change. It's looking quite tight, needs a refresh of the floor and the wall space, so the layout of the floor space and the wall. New furniture, absolutely to be chosen. It needs to be soft seating for 20 customers, because they're either eating or drinking. You see people with their, their pastry and stuff there, or they're meeting friends and family there, they'll arrange to meet in the restaurant. Again, only using IKEA products. We don't show anything else from other retailers in our store for obvious reasons, so please just use our range. And then in terms of the service facilities, there's a tray area to the right, which is this here, and there's a rib wall on the left, and they need to stay as they are because they're kind of structural, we need them for services. But everything in between is totally flexible. For lighting, there's absolutely, we need some lighting there because it can be quite a little dark area. We're not really near a window, so as you can see at the moment we've got these huge lights that kind of give us a lot of light, but that's absolutely changeable. Again, only IKEA lighting, please. And then for communication, it'd be great if you could incorporate a welcome to the restaurant message somewhere within your design. Whatever that looks like is up to you. Style group and identity, so for all of these areas, we work with in IKEA different style groups, but for these particular areas, in order to strengthen our brand as a Scandinavian company, All of these areas within these 4 briefs all need to be done in the Scandinavian modern style, and I'll go on to, after the 4 briefs, what that means in IKEA kind of language, with some kind of boards to kind of explain that to you. Carpentry elements, if there's anything you want to design carpentry-wise, that's absolutely fine, and no maximum budget, so go mad. Yeah, so that's the first one. So the second one, which again, as an individual project, this is a bit of a bigger seating area with a lot more space around it. So this is actually our store entrance seating area. So when you get to IKEA, you come up the escalator and the first thing you see is this seating area. And again, it's looking a little bit sad. So new furniture to be chosen again, lighting to be chosen would be great. It needs to seat about 40 customers because it's a really vast area. At the moment, it really doesn't seat that many people. So again, it's for people who are waiting for family and friends. There's no food and drink in this area. There's no service facilities, there's kind of no limitation on space, it's quite a big space. We've got the plans which we'll share with you after. And again, a welcome to the store message would be great. Scandinavian modern again, which I'll go into. Carpentry elements fine, no maximum budget. Yeah. Okay. Next one's a bit bigger. Don't know if we're going to be working in groups, we'll maybe go into that later, but if you are working in a group or you fancy a bit of a meatier project, our customer returns area is huge, absolutely massive, as you can see from this kind of lame panorama that I tried to take. But basically what you have is you have our returns desks kind of on the left, straight down the middle where you can see there's a guy kind of at the kiosk, that's our collection area. So other than customers getting to those 2 areas, we've got kind of free reign really on how we want the seating. We can be planned however we want. But ideally what it needs to be is a soft seating area for up to 60 people who are waiting, and at this point they'll have trolleys, they'll have prams, they'll have their shopping, and what it is it's the end of the store, they're either returning something or they're collecting something on like a flatbed trolley, like some flat pack, say they've bought some bookcases. So again, only IKEA furniture, lighting, absolutely fine, but there does need to be clear access to the collection point in the middle and the returns desks on the left. So for communication, there's actually a kiosk which explains customers to take a ticket, and that needs to stay where it is. That's here, can you all see? So that needs to stay where it is. It's right at the very front. Again, Scandinavian modern style group, carpentry element, okay, no maximum budget. Then the last one, which is a little bit out of the box, is our exit area. And this one's a little bit of different. So, I don't know if you've ever, when you've walked out of IKEA and come down this travel lane, you've ever really thought about it. But it's absolutely empty. It feels like you're in an airport, it doesn't feel like you're in like a home furnishing specialist shop. So what you have when you went down the travelator is this vast area above you, this vast space, and then you also have on the right, like this really long corridor, which at the moment just says shop online, which is quite boring. So as a bit of a project or a brief for those who want to take this on, have a little think about how we can get home furnishing into this area. So it needs to be an area where customers can still transition down the travelator, but that they're still inspired when they leave the store about IKEA home furnishing products. We've had lots of conversations over the year about what we can do with this area. Could we display furniture all down the corridor on the wall? Could we hang furniture from the ceiling as you go down the travelator? You've got like sofas above you and kitchens hanging, and everything's possible within health and safety. Everything's possible for us to look into. We just kind of need your help really with this space, because it really is one of these kind of head scratching spaces, and if you can remember it from when you're shopping, probably understand why. So the travelator needs to be left clear, but everything else, in terms of a strong installation of some kind of IKEA inspiration, is kind of over to you really. There needs to be clear access, getting on and off the travelator, but other than that, it's just vast space. We can't use any lighting in there due to the height. We can't get electricity up there, other than the little lights that are up there now, which need to stay. A goodbye message would be amazing. And again, Scandinavian modern style group. In this area, we can't use any carpentry, so it would purely have to be something with IKEA products. But again, no maximum budget. So they're the 4 areas. Any questions about those 4 areas?
And just to clarify as well, is the idea is that you select one of those areas?
Yes, it's not all of them.
Okay, so you choose one area, and the group projects, I think, given the current situation, you know, you could still choose to work in a group, and that's up to you. So the idea was that you can choose whether you want to work on the project individually, or whether you want to pair up, or work in a group of 3 or 4. I know that might be slightly challenging now, but it depends, you know, that's up to you. You can still look at that. And the two projects that are sort of more group-based, maybe as individuals, if you think, as I said, if you want something a bit meatier or something as a sort of larger space that you want to, excuse me, use, then you can take one of those briefs. More like, have you got a question?
Do you have any measurements or dimensions of spaces? Yeah, I can share the CAD plans with you for these spaces. I've given Sally and Rachel PDFs at the moment, but I can absolutely share CAD plans if you think that would be useful.
Perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just of the empty space. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly mention what we mean by Scandinavian modern, because all of these areas, regardless of which one you pick, needs to be designed using Scandinavian modern styling. So in IKEA that means something quite specific. So Scandinavian modern in IKEA, which possibly, I mean Scandinavian modern at the moment is quite trendy anyway, so none of this should be a surprise. But when we talk about Scandinavian modern in IKEA in relation to our products and which products are Scandinavian modern and which ones aren't, we're talking about functional, playful, bright colours, a warm and joyful look, lots of colour, but always with a light base, so always using kind of Scandinavian woods. Feature walls we love in IKEA. Textiles, we've got a lot of amazing printed textiles that we can use to kind of to be incorporated in your design. Yeah, so bright colours but always on like a light or blonde wood base. Storage, probably wouldn't be any need for storage in any of your designs, but when we do talk about storage, we talk about it in practical, mix of open and closed, simple, personal and joyful. So we'd like you to create spaces that are simple and classic, high design value, quality feeling. And bring Scandinavian modern to life using contemporary Swedish design. And I think when you start to look at what products you might pick, you'll start to differentiate between which ones are Scandinavian and which ones are kind of designed for a more traditional customer. And I'll go through the mood board in a moment. So choose furniture with added benefits, things that are multifunctional, which is a kind of classic staple of Swedish design. Practical functional storage solutions. Details are important, but overall quite simplistic, as you can see from these photos here. A mix of different colours and materials, and again, personal, simple and joyful. If you kind of use those three words kind of in your heads when you're thinking of these kind of spaces. And then I've just got like a colour palette to share with you, which obviously you can use and download. But when picking your furniture, please pick things that are nice and bright and bold. But with your woods and your kind of hard materials, think about birch and ash, white lacquer, steel, plastic, linen. And hopefully if you use this as your base when you're picking which sofa you might want to use or which coffee table you might want to use, this is kind of a palette that we'd like you to choose from. And if you were to go on our website and look at coffee tables, we may have like 70 coffee tables, but maybe only 10 of them will fit within this kind of scheme. So it's kind of giving you lots of freedom and lots of budget, but kind of reining you in a little bit. Because ideally, the scenario that I'd like is that you guys present something that blows us away, and it's something that we can potentially implement at the store. Like, how amazing would that be? Which is why I guess I need you to kind of follow this, because we can only do this in these areas, if that makes sense. Yeah. So just a quick reminder then, so to reimagine one of our 4 customer areas, either in small groups or individually. Follow the brief carefully, and for me, I think there's a couple of extra bits for Sally and Rachel, but for me, a mood board, a product board, your architectural drawings, and a cost to implement. So if you could say to me, put this in, it'll cost you £2,000, fabulous. Yeah. Any questions? What questions?
Not with the colours then, but you were saying it needs to be like bold.
All colours, yes.
I didn't see like a lot of pastels in there, so is it like really outstanding?
Yeah,
What's
primary
that
colours,
showing?
bold, 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 bold. Yes. Yeah. Lots of colour. Anything else?
Jess, have you got a question?
Oh,
Yeah.
hello, sorry, I didn't see you there.
So can we use like wallpapers from your from
Yes,
IKEA?
we
As
don't-
long as they're in the colour range.
Yes,
colour
absolutely.
range.
We don't sell wallpaper in IKEA. We source it online, so we would
Yeah.
buy it from Wallpaper Direct or Laura Ashley or wherever we would need to get it from. But absolutely, yeah, on your
Yeah.
walls, yeah, absolutely. With wallpapers and paints and things, we always reference in IKEA where they're from, so our customers can buy them. Even if they're from a competitor like B&Q, we'd still always say, get this from B&Q. Right.
Is the best way to find like furniture is to look on the website?
Yeah, absolutely. Or come in the store if we remain open. But yeah, that's what we do. So we're planning a room set. We'll think, oh, we need a sofa. We'll either go out and have a little look, or we'll go on the website and have a little look. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still do the catalogue?
Yes, do the catalogue. Yeah, in store now, available. Or online on PDF as well. lots of inspiration in the catalogue actually. A little pointer. Any other questions?
Do you all know where those spaces are in Sheffield, IKEA?
Roughly?
Does everyone who's not been to Sheffield IKEA, just put your hands up. Okay, so some of you. Okay, so maybe you could think about going to IKEA. Yeah, if you're so inclined to, to sort of familiarise yourself with some of those spaces. But certainly we've currently got PDF drawings which are on Blackboard, so if you could give us the chat drawings,
yeah,
and then we'll share those with you. Yeah, and if you are able to go there, have a look. Because I'm noticing some of them, I think it was the returns area.
Yeah.
You were talking about sometimes people are there for really short periods of
Yeah,
time,
absolutely.
but longer as well.
Yeah.
So it's thinking about that experience.
Yeah, if you've got the opportunity to go, even if you've been before, have a look at it with different eyes this time, because you'll have gone in there thinking about what you're buying, or your meatballs or your hot dogs. But to maybe just go and spend some time in the space, see who's in the space, what have they got with them, have they got kids, have they got trolleys, or actually are they in the entrance, are they sat waiting for people? Is it the elderly that are waiting because everyone else can stand up? Is it, who is using these spaces? Even if you've already been to IKEA, it might still be worth popping along and just have a little nosy. Yeah, definitely.
Got one question. For the breakdown of the cost,
Yes.
the carpentry is all in-house. We don't need to.
Yes, carpentry is in-house, so it might be a bit difficult to kind of price up the carpentry. So if we can price up absolutely the furniture, because you'll have all the prices online. If you can price up the carpentry, amazing. We use Arnold Labour as a supplier, so absolutely you can get a price list off their website, and they deliver wood to us, and our carpenter builds it. Obviously the time scale you've got, I wouldn't expect full on carpentry plans, but any visual kind of drawing or elevation of what that might look like would be amazing. If we did implement it, we would hand that to our carpenter. Yeah.
And just another couple of things to pick on, because you mentioned about inspiring people, but you mentioned about your brand as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so both are really important.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I think with our brand and being a Scandinavian company, the kind of Scandinavian modern identity is really important, because in these areas, even though we aren't asking customers to shop when they're in the restaurant necessarily or in the entrance area, we want to remind them that they're in an IKEA, which is why we have this really strong kind of Scandinavian modern expression, which we'd like you to kind of stick to. But yeah, ultimately, I guess sharing the information about the brand is about a better everyday life for the many people, and that not just includes people who are taking products home, but it's also about their experience in the store. We want them to have a lovely day when they come to us, so we want them to have a great entrance area, a great restaurant experience, a great returns experience if they need it. Yeah, so it all needs to link in with the brand. Yeah.
Do you know, is there an average of time, of length of visit of someone going?
It varies, yeah. I guess average, you could kind of say average is an hour, but people pop in for 5 minutes, and some people stay literally for sort of 6 hours. So it would average out probably a couple of hours. But that's another thing that we do, is we do this thing where we customer kind of flow, and we follow customers around the store, mark where they've been, and it kind of gives us an idea of which areas are really hot in the store and which areas are really cold in the store. Yeah, so I guess in these specific areas, because they're not shopping areas, they're areas of rest and where people can wait for people and meet, they're areas that people tend to sit in for quite a while.
Has anyone got any more questions for Emma?
What are your thoughts? Like, is it exciting? Is it? I'll take that. Cool, okay. So the original plan was to have you all come to IKEA to present in a couple of weeks, but obviously unfortunately with the situation with you guys, I don't know what our situation will be, whether we'll close, we don't really know what's going to happen. We're playing it day by day, just like you guys are. So that isn't possible, we know that. So there's going to be some kind of online submission, which Sally made sure we'll go through. And we'll go from there, because I'd like to give you all feedback somehow with what it is that you've done.
Okay. Yeah.